Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om 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 Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda 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 Paramashivoham.
I bless you all. Let you all open
all your three eyes and manifest the powers of Mahasadashiva. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda.
Connecting with the divine with your eyes closed is meditation. Connecting with the divine with your eyes open is darshan. Come, let us all now move from meditation to darshan. Slowly, very slowly, please open your eyes.
காணாதத கண்டாரே கண்டாரே காணாதத கண்டாரே ஒரு வீடு ஒரு கூடு அட எதுவும் கிடையாதே சாக்காடு பிடிமூப்பு அதையெல்லாம் கடந்தாரே கண்டாரே கைலாசம் கண்டாரே கூத்தாடும் சடையாண்டி அதை குறியா கொண்டாரே காத்தோடு கதை பேசி சிவஞானம் கண்டாரே பத்தோட ஓரட்டு பத்தோட 18 சித்தர்கள் விளையாட்டு எத்தனை பேருக்கு தந்தாரோ கையாட்டு சித்தங்கா போக்கு சிவம் போக்கு என சொன்னாரே பித்தங்கா போக மருந்தாக தனம் வந்தாரே வடகாசி தென்காசி வழிதோறும் சித்தரடி அடியாத்தி முடிஞ்சாக்கா அடையாளம் கண்டுபிடி கண்டாரே காணாதத கண்டாரே கண்டாரே கைலாசம் கண்டாரே கண்டாரே காணாதத கண்டாரே ஒரு வீடு ஒரு கூடு அட எதுவும் கிடையாதே சாக்காடு பிடிமூப்பு அதையெல்லாம் கடந்தாரே கண்டாரே கைலாசம் கண்டாரே கூத்தாடும் சடையாண்டி அதை குறியா கொண்டாரே காத்தோடு கதை பேசி சிவஞானம் கண்டாரே பத்தோட ஓரட்டு பத்தோட 18 சித்தர்கள் விளையாட்டு எத்தனை பேருக்கு தந்தாரோ கையாட்டு சித்தங்கா போக்கு சிவம் போக்கு என சொன்னாரே பித்தங்கா போக மருந்தாக தனம் வந்தாரே வடகாசி தென்காசி வழிதோறும் சித்தரடி அடியாத்தி முடிஞ்சாக்கா அடையாளம் கண்டுபிடி கண்டாரே காணாதத கண்டாரே கண்டாரே கைலாசம் கண்டாரே கண்டாரே காணாதத கண்டாரே ஒரு வீடு ஒரு கூடு அட எதுவும் கிடையாதே சாக்காடு பிடிமூப்பு அதையெல்லாம் கடந்தாரே கண்டாரே கைலாசம் கண்டாரே கூத்தாடும் சடையாண்டி அதை குறியா கொண்டாரே காத்தோடு கதை பேசி சிவஞானம் கண்டாரே பத்தோட ஓரட்டு பத்தோட 18 சித்தர்கள் விளையாட்டு எத்தனை பேருக்கு தந்தாரோ கையாட்டு சித்தங்கா போக்கு சிவம் போக்கு என சொன்னாரே பித்தங்கா போக மருந்தாக தனம் வந்தாரே வடகாசி தென்காசி வழிதோறும் சித்தரடி அடியாத்தி முடிஞ்சாக்கா அடையாளம் கண்டுபிடி கண்டாரே காணாதத கண்டாரே கண்டாரே கைலாசம் கண்டாரே சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர ஐயா சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர ஊரறியே என் பேரறியே உறவறிய தவத்துறவறிய உள்ளொன்று புறம் ஒன்று பேசறிய உமை சிவன் போலே வேறறிய சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர 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 காலையும் மாலையும் கணக்கறிய நாளும் கோளும் நான் அறிய பாலையும் சோலையும் பிரித்தறிய பரம பரஞ்சோதி அடி சிறிய சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர சிவ 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 ரகர ஐயா ஊனறிய உயிர் உடல் அறிய மோன பெருவழியை நான் அறிய ஆணறிய பெண்ணலி அறிய ஆதி சிதம்பரம் நான் அறிய சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர சிவ 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 ரகர சாமி உண்மைது பொருளது கண்டறிய போகமும் மோகமும் கொண்டறிய ஆசை பேராசை அறிந்தறிய அம்பலமாடியை மறந்தறிய சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர 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 சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர ஐயா சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர ஆகம வேதங்கள் படித்தறிய ஆறு குளங்களில் குடித்தறிய யாகம் யோகமும் செய்தறிய ஓமுகம் பார்த்து பணிந்தறிய சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர 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 சும்மா ஒருபோது இருந்தறிய சுத்த அசுத்தங்கள் பார்த்தறிய ஆத்ம நிவேதன செய்தறிய அர்த்தநாரீசன் அடி சிறிய சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர சிவ 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 ரகர சாமி ஏடறிய சொல் எழுத்தறிய ஏற்றமும் தாழ்வும் நான் அறிய வீடறிய கொடுங்காடறிய சோமசுந்தரனும் மறந்தறிய சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர சிவ 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 ரகர உணவறிய ஊரும் உணர்வறிய உள்யது வெளியது நான் அறிய கணவறிய மேல் நனவறிய கனக சபாவரி அடி சிறிய சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர சிவ 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 ரகர ரகர
ஓம் நித்யானந்தேஸ்வர பரமசிவசமாரம்பாம் நித்யானந்தேஸ்வரி பரமசக்தி மத்யமாம் அஸ்மதாச்சார்யபர்யந்தாம் வந்தே குரு பரம்பராம். I welcome you all with my love and respects. I welcome all the living, practicing Hindus, de facto Kailasians from all over the world. I welcome all the Sarvagnya Pitakartas, Yajamans, manifestors, Shrimahans, Mahants, Sarvavarityahis, Kotaris, visitors, viewers, everyone sitting with us all over the world. Through Nithyananda TV, Kailasa TV, I welcome all of you with my love and blessings. Paramashiva's message directly from Kailasa. Listen, what is happening now in the cosmos is the most favorable, supporting, auspicious ambience for enlightenment. See, the best thing that can happen to beings, the best spiritual breakthrough that can happen to beings listen intensely. Best thing that can happen to consciousness is enlightenment. Being part of this Paramashiva's mission as enlightened being. I tell you, when you become enlightened, you automatically become part of this Paramashiva's Kailasa, the mission. Best thing that can happen to human consciousness is becoming enlightened and being part of this Paramashiva's mission, Kailasa. I tell you, the most auspicious, supporting ambience for that great purpose is happening now. Please listen. See, when you have a good rest, deep sleep, fresh in the morning, you will feel so good about everything, about you, about others, about life, everything. Same way, when you have deep samadhi, you will experience that feel-good feeling billion times more. See, if you had a good food, deep sleep, and wake up, how fresh you feel. You feel so happy about you, others. You feel like blessing yourself and blessing others. You have only very good words and moods for yourself and others. Listen. Same way, if you have a good samadhi, billion times more, you will feel good about you, others, world, everything. It is not even just feel good feeling, it's a reality. From that reality, I am talking to you all. அண்டத்தில் பாய்ந்தேன் அங்கிருந்தே கண்டதை எல்லாம் உங்களோடு கதைத்திட இந்த பிண்டத்தில் மலர்ந்தேன். கண்டதை அல்ல, கண்டதை எல்லாம் கதைத்திட இந்த பிண்டத்தில் மலர்ந்தேன். கண்டதை கண்டபடி கண்டு உணர்ந்து கொண்டபடி ககனத்து மாந்தர்கள் உங்களுக்கு சொல்லிட இந்த பிண்டத்தில் மலர்ந்திருக்கின்றேன். பிறவா வரமளிக்கும் பெம்மான் சத்தியத்தை உரைக்கின்றேன் கேட்டு மறவாது உயிரில் மலரச் செய்து வாழ்ந்திடுங்கள். Listen intensely. If I come for Satsangh or Akashic reading, darshans, programs every day, it's a good news for all of you. If I don't come for few days, because I was in deep samadhi, it's a great news for all of you. Because I'm going to bring some more great, best things to planet Earth from Kailasa. Every time I go to Kailasa, reside in that vertical time zone in Samadhi, and come back, I have a great gifts for all of you. Listen. First thing I want to tell you, I want to introduce the great gifts and the great news I have brought from Kailasa. First, listen. First point I want to tell you. The purpose of human consciousness is getting matured, getting enlightened, being part of the Paramashiva's mission as enlightened being. This is the purpose. See, everything else is just shit. I am not against money, infrastructure, material comforts, luxury. I am not against any of that. But all of that cannot replace your consciousness flowering and getting enlightened. telling you? Money is nothing but collectively accepted imagination given legitimacy. Collectively accepted imagination given legitimacy is money. I am not against money. Money is great as long as it is useful for administration to make human life better on planet Earth. To make our lives better on planet Earth, if the money is useful, great. But if that same concept of money is used by chronic capitalists or manipulators in any field to stop human beings growing consciously, then I am against money. Be very clear. Listen. Money is great as long as it supports listen. Money is great as long as it supports human beings to make human life better on planet Earth. Listen, I'll repeat. If you are all able to see me, hear me, please wave your hands. Because I am seeing the live streaming is getting just disconnected. I think now it's clear. So let me repeat. All of you listen carefully. Money is great if it is useful to make human life better on planet Earth, because that very concept was imagined and given legitimacy to make human life better. For example, at this present given situation, the concept of money should be used to provide food, medical care, everything to all the citizens of planet Earth by providing a complete quarantine. Listen. For now, especially this corona delta virus and delta plus virus, the way it is spreading, the way it is evolving, becoming different. All human beings all over the world should be provided absolute multi-layer quarantine till complete elimination of corona is done. Complete elimination of corona and its variants are done till we know for sure absolutely corona is eliminated. All human beings should be provided multi-layer quarantine, food, safety, everything. No human being should suffer without food and medical care. Actually, this should be the purpose of concept of money for the time being. Please understand. I'll explain step by step where humanity is missing, where the decision makers are failing to see the blind spot. All systems, money, economy, bank, fixing a price for agricultural products or any product, everything is just to make human life better on planet Earth. Human beings need some kind of an inspiration and greed to run. So the common imagination called money, which is given legitimacy, is a very good way to make human beings run. Keep themselves energetic, alive. So as long as money is used for that, it's okay. But at the given situation now, corona time, money and economy cannot be the reason to put human lives at risk, because human life is far more precious than all the idea and concept of money put together. One human life, one human being with consciousness is far more superior, greater, higher than this whole so-called collective imagination, money, which is given legitimacy due to its utility value. Understand? The whole system, the man-made human civilization, need to remember The purpose of civilization is to make human life better on planet Earth. We just need human beings to look at this whole human civilization with fresh eyes. What our ancient enlightened rishis, the forefathers of our civilization, from Paramashiva, Paramashakti, the whole Guru Parampara, our ancient visionaries of this human civilization. What was their vision? Are we going towards that? It is time we just sit back, look with the fresh eyes. At least all my disciples, please think sincerely about this vision I am giving you all. If I can put this seed in all of you and all of you start thinking, I will feel job satisfaction. Last so many days, I was soaked in samadhi and I have brought some understanding, some vision, some truths. To share with all of you. First, everything is for the sake of human consciousness to flower, get enlightened, be part of this great Paramashiva's mission of making everybody enlightened. That's the first truth. Second, listen. This is the deep, sacred secret. Paramashiva has 5 phases: creation, sustenance, rejuvenation, delusion, liberation. People ask me, why destruction, rejuvenation, and delusion is done by Paramashiva? Listen. Whenever the forgetfulness is given to you, when you start forgetting the past, when you get deluded, confused, forgetful about the past, the great possibility for a breakthrough is given to you. Listen. If you remember your past and proceed with your life further, that is called growth. If you learn to survive, reinvent yourself during the absolute forgetfulness, delusion, confusion, if you learn to survive and reinvent yourself at these crucial moments, it will be breakthrough, not just growth. Paramashiva is providing an amazing opportunity for all of us to have a breakthrough. Listen, I am not soothsayer, or I am not this positive thinking paprapa. No, I am neither positive thinking Bhagavas nor life negative person. I tell you the truth as it is. As it is. See, if you remember your past and continue to proceed in your life, it is growth. So you remember, you used to make hundreds of thousands per year. Now you want to work hard and progress and proceed, manifest your creativity, hard work, intensity, all that, and you proceed from 100,000 to maybe 1,000,000. That is the growth based on your memory track. But whenever there's a complete winding up, your memories are no more useful, your past track record is no more relevant, utter confusion, delusion, things are just melting down in front of your eyes. Whatever you thought useless in your life, you suddenly find so much of value for it, and whatever you thought very useful as a pillar of your life, suddenly becoming irrelevant and no more useful. This whole delusion, Throbhava, the great deluge happening, is an amazing opportunity for all of you. Amazing opportunity for all of you to reinvent yourself, to have a breakthrough for your life, to give an amazing breakthrough to yourself. I tell you, so many people all over the world, I am seeing many things they felt is the most important pillar, foundation of their life, is neither relevant nor useful. It is not even there. Suddenly it is not there. It's just not there. Many things which you thought is not great part of your life become so relevant, too important. Some few spiritual understandings, ideas which you never thought is too important, some spiritual book, suddenly now all of that has become too relevant, and you are spending time with that books, with that spiritual material 24/7. It has become so relevant. Every word is useful. You are taking it very serious. Start working. Nowadays, I am not teaching at all about completion because everyone has to practice completion even to survive without getting mental breakdown. if you have to be without becoming paityam, loose, and sail through this great deluge and the whole pralaya, you have to practice completion and spiritual truths. Otherwise, you will be scratching your head. And otherwise, what will happen to you? Nobody knows. How you will be, nobody knows. The spiritual truths have suddenly become so relevant, even for basic survival. I am telling you, this great pralaya happening is an amazing opportunity for all of you to reinvent yourself, rediscover yourself, rebuild yourself, revive yourself. You don't need to be growing. You can just be recreating yourself. Many of the things which you thought very important in your life, relationships, people, wealth, buildings, home, office, infrastructures, many of that is no more part of your life. Some have become even irrelevant. Just look around. 2 years before this pralaya started, what all was two important relevant things of your life, with what all you were spending your time, life, what was the focus of your life, your future plan, everything. Now see, I am telling you, Paramashiva is providing an extraordinary possibility, a powerful space. You may never get another pandemic, pralaya like this, even if you want, next few hundred years. Let us not miss it. It's an amazing opportunity to get enlightened. Listen carefully. I'll repeat. I wanted to repeat every statement I am making 10 times so it gets into your inner space. Listen. "30 years of life." Usually 30 years is called as one generation in normal society. One generation, what maturity it brings to the individual human consciousness. See, if you lived 30 years, how much you evolve, get matured, in your cognition and decision making process about life. That one generation, 30 years maturity has come for human beings in just last 30 months. And I am telling you, mark my words, this Corona Delta Plus is going to give full one generation maturity in next few months. Last 30 months have given 30 years maturity for human consciousness. I am telling you, many good things have happened due to this pandemic, this pralaya. People have started realizing there are many things without which they can live. There are many important things they really need, especially the need for the spiritual strength. Is happening in every being. Every being has started realizing the need for the spiritual strength, the need for enlightenment. I'm telling you. This last 30 months have given humanity the maturity which usually comes by 30 years, one generation. And mark my words, next few months, the Corona Delta Plus is going to give full 30 more years, one more generation maturity to humanity. Not only the way, quick and fast way the Delta Plus virus is spreading, the way it is going to impact the health of the human beings and the death rate, all that is going to give one generation maturity to human beings. Listen, I am neither giving you negative information nor trying to show positivity bhagavas. No, I am just revealing the truths as it is. I am fresh from samadhi. You can take it as a cosmic breaking news. I am directly coming from ground zero, where the decisions are made, where things are happening from Kailasa, and giving you the breaking news, cosmic breaking news, cosmic updates, cosmic flash news. Listen carefully. O human beings, you are given an amazing opportunity to get enlightened. Let your first priority to be being alive. Keep yourself healthy, physically, mentally. Learn, practice as much as possible intensely Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the science of unclutching. signs of completion, signs of power manifestation. I have already revealed all these sciences to all of you. It's all available freely. Pick up and start practicing intensely. Because everything else is irrelevant. The consciousness you built, the health you are having, only these two is relevant after this great pralaya settles down. Nothing else is relevant. Hey, billionaires are dying like a rat and cat in the street. The common imagination concept money, which is given legitimacy, has no meaning. First, be alive, be healthy, physically, mentally. Use this opportunity to get enlightened consciously. Do not try to take me for granted, saying, oh, Swamiji will tell the same thing only. I may be telling the same thing, but you are not in the same situation. The world is different now. Earlier, enlightenment was a luxury, option. Now it is survival, fundamental need. Just like your morning breakfast, enlightenment is the fundamental need. Listen intensely. This pralaya, by thoroughly shaking all your ideas, plans, imaginations, it is upgrading you, updating you, making you matured more than one generation. 30 years. Usually what changes will happen in the human society, whether mentally, physically, the way the economy functions, the way humanity evolves. See, 30 years before, the idea of passport, visa, and now the idea of the passport, visa, it has matured like anything. Few years before, the president of the Ecuador announced that they are going to create a system where the idea of passport and visa become irrelevant for humanity. Means the free travel. I am giving you a rough paraphrased version. You can Google and get that news link. The ideas. See, earlier, when the idea of passport and visa, all this was happening 30 years before, it was more for restriction purpose. Now it is more for facilitating purpose. I am telling you, after this pralaya, the ideas of passport, visa, all that will have a next level of matured cognition. It will be just giving you the multiple choices and options. Earlier, when this idea of passport, visa and all, when it was created, it was more like for restricting purpose. Then it evolved into a facilitating purpose. Now it will be more like giving you the wide choices, variety, options. It may even evolve to the next level. Because the way human beings are going to die, that every country will want more human beings in their country. The human beings are going to be more important than any idea of billions or millions or trillions. The importance is going to be shifted more on human beings. And I am telling you very seriously, humanity is going to wake up and respect the nature, planet Earth, and the nature as a living energy. It is not there for us to exploit. No. The nature is a living organic energy which is verily part of our existence, which plays a major role in our existence. Humanity is going to wake up to this truth. So the vegetarianism will become lifestyle. The deforestation will stop. Multiple side effects are going to happen. Like when this global warming has caught the attention of the human beings, how many major decisions were taken and how humanity started looking at everything in a matured way. This pandemic, last 30 months have given 30 years maturity, and next few months is going to give next 30 years maturity. One more generation maturity. Human beings are going to have just in next few months. Understand? The other day I was reading an article. Somebody was trying to justify, even during the plague in India, we had 10 to 20% of the population dying, but we stood back. Yes, I am not saying we are not going to stand back. We are not going to revive ourselves. No, I am not saying that. Be very clear. When 10 to 20% of the population was wiped out during the plague and those pandemics, there was no cell phone, there was no live streaming. It was not impacting the living human being's consciousness that strongly. See, even the message you receive, the news you receive will be verbal, very less photographs. So the people who survived, the impact of others' death on the minds of the people who survived was not too much. But now, due to cell phone communication, the internet, mass media, everything available, you guys are underestimating the impact of even few deaths going to happen on the people who are alive. See, I am neither supporting media lying by hiding the number of common man's death, nor I am supporting media going gaga and wild and overacting and overreacting some of the VIP deaths due to corona. Both extreme I am not supporting, but both extremes are weakening the human beings, and both extreme, see, hiding the deaths of the common mass and too much of limelight for some celebrities dying in corona, both are not letting human beings to take the right decision. We need the truth, facts for human beings to take the right decision about life. Neither we should break the confidence of the people on the civilization, nor they should have the false arrogance and roam around without protecting themselves from the corona. Please understand, when the large common mass deaths are hidden from others, see, common man's deaths, large number, but it is covered, hidden from the humanity. The human beings don't understand the necessity to protect themselves from corona, and they start moving around unprotected. They are not taking corona seriously. That's one side. The other side, too much importance is given to these VIP deaths due to corona, that makes human being lose confidence on the society, human civilization. That is also not going to work, because that gives a kind of a arrogant decision. What can be done? Even those VIPs are dying. How the people start thinking, oh, even those VIPs are dying, nothing can be done anyhow. This is the way it is going to be, so let me live as long as I can. That is the way that drunkards standing in queue just for 1 quarter and getting corona and dying. Oh God, I'm telling you, this alcohol shop corona deaths are the most pathetic. Now, I'm not talking about just one nation, one state. I'm telling about the whole world. Alcohol shop corona deaths. That's most pathetic. Kind of a delusional arrogance. Enters into human beings. Neither this extreme is right nor that extreme is right. Neither hiding the mass common man's deaths are right, nor giving too much of limelight to the celebrity deaths due to corona is right. Both are wrong. People need to be given the fact, not only fact, they need to be educated rightly and especially provided the ambience and security. All the decision makers all over the world, on behalf of Kailasa, I request all of you, please provide food, basic medical care, shelter to all human beings under your care. Multi-layer quarantine till this corona is completely eliminated from planet Earth, till that spreading cycle, that chain is broken. Give people security about their future, confidence about their life. This is the first priority for all the decision makers all over the world. I sincerely request all of you humbly to make this as your first priority. And I am not the kind of a person who will just put the responsibility on others and keep quiet. No. I am a kind of a person, I will do first whatever I can, then what I am doing, the same thing I will request others to do. That is the reason I have opened all the ashrams, temples, properties Kailasa has to provide multi-layer quarantine, protection from corona, corona delta plus, providing food and very authentic Hindu medical care. I tell you, it is very unfortunate. The Hindu medical systems are taken for granted, destroyed, abused, disrespected. Very systematic way by the anti-Hindu elements. But the Hindu medicinal system surely has everything needed to save humanity from corona and all the variants of corona. Whether protecting yourself, prevention level, or after getting corona, curing, healing, recovering, and after fully recovered, the post-recovery health maintenance and fully getting back to your health and back to your original form, the pre-corona health level, in every level. The Hindu medicinal system, when I say Hindu medicinal system, I mean Siddha, Ayurveda, and all the subsects, branches of Siddha and Ayurveda. Hindu medicinal system as a solution for corona, I know. Whatever way I can help, I'll continue to help. I won't waste my time in blaming or putting the responsibility on others. I will do whatever I can and request others also to be part and serve. Whatever way you can serve, especially decision makers. People who are under your care, people who entrusted you to make decision for them, the rulers, decision makers, administrators of humanity all over the world, please focus on keeping human beings alive, healthy through this whole deluge, the pralaya, pandemic. Let the focus be on keeping people alive, happy, healthy. Let that be the first priority. Let that be the first priority. I have brought the signs of enlightenment. Especially for the humanity during this pandemic, this pralaya time, this huge, the deluge, the pralaya time. Next few months, I'm going to focus on making as many of you enlightened. So this instruction is for all the Kailasas, means all the ashrams, temples, our adhinams, and all my sincere disciples, followers, who literally live the lifestyle of Kailasa wherever you are. All of you listen. Next few days, start taking these 3 herbs in your food. Karisalanganni, Ponnanganni, Thuduvalai. I will repeat. I will even put the English word in the social media as the gist of the Satsangh. I do not know the English word now, so now I will tell in the Tamil. Ponnanganni, Karisalanganni, Thuduvalai. All the ashram should grow these 3 herbs. If you are not able to grow, at least buy. Add this in your food. You can even cook and eat, or make juice and drink. In any form, add at least little quantity of all these 3 every day. Every day, add all these 3. Please listen. These 3 herbs strengthen your body and mind. It helps you to receive the enlightenment, manifest powers. These are the powerful aushadas. Actually, I'll tell you one incident. Somebody came to my guru, Raghupati Yogi, asking for a solution for his personal problem. He was going through some problem in his house. He wants a solution. Then my guru told him, bring Thuduvalai leaf, 10 leaves tomorrow. I was sitting next to my guru when he gave this solution. I thought maybe when the Thuduvalai comes, he is going to energize him and make him eat or whatever. I just waited. Next day, that person came with that 10 Thuduvalai leaf. My guru took that Thuduvalai leaf in his hand and asked me to eat. I didn't understand why he's asking me to eat. I ate. And he asked me to sit. And he told that person, the devotee who came for solution, to touch my feet and do Pada Puja to me, take my blessings. And that person just obeyed my guru and did. My guru told me, you just sit straight. And he told me that be in that Brahma Dhyana, Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Sit straight. I sat. The devotee did the Pada Puja and whatever he was supposed to do. Then my Guru told me, bless this person. As my Guru told me, ordered, from that Nirvikalpa Samadhi, I blessed him. He went away. Maybe in 10-15 days, he came back saying that the whole problem is solved completely. I asked my Guru, what exactly happened? Tell me. Raghupati Yogi told me, hey, you are Paramashiva. When time comes, you will realize. Whether you realize or not. Whether you realize that now or not, you are Paramashiva. When time comes, you will realize that is different. When I gave the Tuduvalai and you ate and sat, your Paramashivatva intensely started manifesting in your body. So that is the time I asked him to worship you, do Pada Puja to you. So directly he receives Paramashiva's energy and powers. He got the blessing and he went away. And I tell you, for quite a long time, when I used to sit for Pada Puja, I will have Tuduvale in my mouth for quite a long time. Only after I started traveling outside India, when we were not able to get that herb, and by the time it was also not required, I stopped using. Tuduvala is that powerful herb. When you use Tuduvala every day, simply you manifest the powers of Paramashiva. Karisalanganni, Ponnanganni, Tuduvalai. All this heals your body and makes you manifest the powers. Especially all of you who want to manifest powers, whenever I give Shakti Pada and Shakti Nipada, if you want to receive my initiation and manifest the powers, please start adding these 3 herbs in your food regularly. Actually, these 3 are very powerful herbs, even to bring health in you. How much quantity to use? You can just Google any Ayurvedic or Siddha website. They will tell you. Maybe 10 leaf maximum per day. 10 leaf of Karisalanganni, 10 leaf of Ponnanganni, 10 leaf of Tuduvalai. You can take it in the morning or noon or in the evening. You can make tea. You can make kashayam or any ways. And or you can take it as part of your food also. All the sannyasis, brahmacharis, Gurukul Balasans should take these 3 herbs every day. All the ashrams should start growing these 3 herbs every day. So that you are all ready to receive and get enlightened. This whole science which I am bringing now, just your integrity is enough. Wherever you are, your integrity is enough. You can connect and manifest enlightenment, enjoy the best things of superconsciousness, powers of Paramashiva. All the adinams, ashrams, if you start growing in the ashram, especially where I used to walk, in that very land that Aushadha can be programmed through the energy. I brought enough energy from Kailasa. I'll program them for all of you to manifest enlightenment and powers of Paramashiva. And I also wanted to tell all the Adinavasis of all ashrams, if you grow this 3 herb and give freely to other devotees all over the world who can't grow on their own in their house, you will get all the punya, good karma and blessings. With that punya, you will manifest more powers. All the sannyasis of Kailasa, actually it is your responsibility to provide all the spiritual support without charging. So this is my order to all my sannyasis, the whole sovereign order of Kailasa, all my sannyasis, brahmacharis, grihasthas who are staying inside my ashrams and campuses. You should grow all these 3 herbs. Karisalanganni, Tuduvalai, Punnanganni. And not only you can consume, you can enjoy it. You should distribute to anyone who has free of charge. Free of cost, you should give. Maybe you can let people pay the transport. Shipping expense they can pay. But the herbs themselves should be given freely, especially grown in our campuses where I lived, where I used to walk around, where that breathing space is there still intensely. Tiruvannamalai Ashram, Adi Kailash, Bididi, Salem Adinam, Rajapalayam. These are the ashrams. Hyderabad, where I physically, literally lived, walked around, energized that whole land, energy fields. All the ashrams I mentioned, all those Adinavasis should grow these herbs. You should use and share with the world. This is your responsibility. Devotees all over the world are donating money, funding us. So we should be doing this kind of spiritual support and services to everyone. It's our responsibility. And it is too easy to grow. It's not difficult, very easy to grow, especially in India. We have so much land. I used to go and stay in Rajapalayam. Rajapalayam, we have a 40-acre land, beautiful agriculture land inside a forest. I used to purposely go and stay there. People used to ask, why Swamiji going and staying in that forest? I said, hey, I'm energizing this whole area. You guys don't know, in future, so many Siddha, Aushadhi herbs are going to grow here, which will be useful for the whole world, which will be useful for the people to manifest powers. So all those people who are in our ashram, it's my order, take this as Guru Vak, grow these 3 herbs, you also enjoy and share it with the world, free of charge. All the Aushadha cannot be sold. Paramashiva is very clear. Education, medical care, food, these 3 has to be absolutely free of charge in Hindu tradition. When you are giving education, you can accept Guru Dakshina, which is voluntary. Sometimes people offer, it can be accepted. But the transaction or the bargain cannot exist as a compulsory prerequisite for knowledge transmission. Same way the Aushadha. Aushadha has to be absolutely free. Share it with the world. I also wanted to tell you all, I am working on a very sound economical system for Kailasa, where I can start providing all this free of charge for the anybody, the practicing Hindus who wants, whether you are born as a Hindu or not born as Hindu is not a problem. Practicing Hindu. If you are a practicing Hindu and you want, we will be able to provide. We will be able to provide. I am building that kind of a sound economy. The real economy of the future is conscious centric, not money centric. It is conscious centric. Usefulness to the world, usefulness to the human beings, usefulness for the human consciousness to get enlightened. These few hundred acres which I already energized, did the prana pratishta and left. See, in Hindu tradition, the herbal garden, Siddhavana, Siddha Aranya, has to have Vastu Santi, Mooligai Saba Nivarti, Mooligai Prana Pratishtai. All these rituals have to be done to the land and to that whole energy field. Fortunately, in those days itself, by the grace of Paramashiva, all the land which was donated to our Sangha in India and many other countries, I have done this, creating an energy field through Vastu Dosha Nivarti, Mooligai Saba Nivarti, Mooligai Prana Pratishtai, all the traditional, the spiritually energizing process, especially Biddi Adi Kailash, Tiruvannamalai, we have multiple lands. In all the lands, I did it. And Salamadinam and Rajapalayam, we have multiple pieces of lands. In all the lands, I did it. And Erode, Tiruchengodu Adinam. So all the sovereign order of Kailasa, Brahmacharis, Grihasthas, Sannyasis, Naishtika Brahmacharis of the Kailasa, please grow these herbs in all this sacred land, which is 1,000 times more powerful than anywhere grown outside. Because this will be powerfully spiritually programmed. And this, which we grow inside our energy fields, will be powerfully spiritually programmed one, and it retains its spiritual energy. And directly becomes part of the human bioenergy and makes the person manifest Paramashivatva. So, all our Adinam should take the responsibility, at least growing and sending it to our devotees who are very sincere in power manifestation, who want to really get enlightened. At least for those sincere people, you should be supporting it and giving it. I'll continue with further satsangs and initiations to transmit this sacred enlightenment science and power manifestation science, which I brought from Kailasa with all of you. We can also do one more, all the adinams. We can grow these plants and make even seeds from these plants and send that to people all over the world so they can grow. That seed will have the same power, same spiritual energy and spiritual programming. So that service also is great service. So first few things I want to reveal, I shared with you all. I have many more things to reveal. I'll reveal in further satsangs. For now, this. So essence of what I wanted to convey. Be alive, protect yourself from corona, corona delta plus, and all other multicolor fungus, black fungus, yellow fungus, green fungus, so many other variants and other brothers, sisters, cousins of this corona. Protect yourself from all of this by double layer quarantining, and use this time to experience unclutching and nirvikalpa samadhi. Don't waste your time. Keep yourself healthy, physically, mentally. Spend more and more time in nirvikalpa samadhi, unclutching, completion, ajapa, intense spiritual practice. Don't waste this time. This is a time to get enlightened. It's a time to get matured and reinvent yourself and manifest powers of Paramashiva. So with this, I bless you all. Let's all radiate with integrity, authenticity, responsibility, enriching, causing, living Shuddhatvaita Saivam, Paramadvaita, Paramadvaitam, the Shuddhatvaita Saivam, the state, space, powers, being, superconsciousness, and Kailasa of Paramashiva, Paramashivoham, Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham, the eternal bliss, Nithyananda. Thank you. Be blissful.
श्री कैलासोन्नत द्वादशान्त श्यामला पीठारूढ़ श्री मीनाक्षि सुंदरेश्वरा भिन्न स्वरूप परशिव पुत्र रत्न कुमार गुरुमण्य तुल्यावतार श्री पार्वती स्तन्यपान लब्ध दिव्य ज्ञान विश्रुत सकल निगमागम सारभूत द्राविड वेद प्रवक्त्रे श्रीमत् परमशिव करुणा समधिगत मुक्तामय चतुरश्रयान गीयमान छत्र चामर श्रीचिह्न काहलादि समस्त बिरदावल्यलङ्कृत ज्ञान विज्ञान चक्रवर्ती सर्वजन संघ सद्यो निर्वाण दीक्षा व्ययापवर्गवर्ष विश्राण जीमूत परमत कलभ केसरी शैव सिद्धान्त स्थापनाचार्य श्रीराजाधिराज पाण्ड्य महाराज गुरु क्षपण शाक्यादि महान्धकार निवारण ज्ञान भानु वीक्षणानर्हार्ह ध्वजोच्छेदन पूर्वक श्रीमद्वृषभध्वज स्थापक शैव समय कर्तृ सर्वज्ञ पीठारूढ श्रीजगद्गुरु श्रीज्ञान सम्बन्ध देशिक स्वामि वागीश सुन्दर माणिक्य वाचक स्वामिनाम् अवतारभूत श्रीज्ञान सम्बन्ध स्वामि पुनरुद्धृत श्यामलापीठ सर्वज्ञ पीठ त्रिनवत्युत्तरद्विशततम गुरुमहासन्निधान अरुणगिरियोगीश्वर परम्परागत अरुणाचल सर्वज्ञ पीठ गुरुमहासन्निधान कैलास परम्परागत काञ्ची कैलास सर्वज्ञ पीठ त्रयस्त्रिंशदुत्तरद्विशततम गुरुमहासन्निधान नित्योत्सव नित्यमङ्गल नित्यकल्याण नित्यरजित कैलास परम्परागत आदि कैलास नित्यानन्द पीठ महासंस्थान महासिंहासन पीठकर्तः साक्षात् श्री परमशिव समुद्भूत कैलास परम्परागत वैवस्वतमनु इक्ष्वाकु हरिश्चन्द्र भगीरथ श्रीरामचन्द्र शूरसेन इत्यादि अनवच्छिन्न सार्वभौम चक्रवर्ति परम्परागत चतुष्षष्टि योगिनी मण्डित चतुष्षष्टि सम्प्रदाय प्रवर्तक मनुधर्म शासन सूर्यवंश प्राप्त सर्वज्ञ पीठ सुराङ्गि साम्राज्य मूर्धाभिषिक्त चूडामणे साक्षात् श्री परमशिव समुद्भूत कपिल महागुरु पुनरुद्धृत महानिर्वाणि पीठ अष्टोत्तर सहस्र श्री महामण्डलेश्वर साक्षात् श्री परमशिव सिंहासनाभिषिक्त समस्त गणनायक श्री महागणपति समारंभ अनवच्छिन्न पीठाधीश्वर गुरु परंपरा प्राप्त अटल पीठ अष्टोत्तर सहस्र श्री अटल पीठाधीश्वर धर्म मुक्ति स्वर्गपुर स्वर्ण पीठ त्रयोविंश गुरु महासन्निधान कैलास परम्परागत आदिपीठ सर्वज्ञ पीठ जगद्गुरो श्री कैलास पुनरुद्धारक श्री कैलास परमाचार्य श्रीमत्परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य वर्य सच्चिदानन्द प्रणव स्वरूप श्रोत्रिय ब्रह्मनिष्ठ श्रीमज्जगद्गुरु श्रील श्री भगवत् श्री नित्यानन्द परमशिव श्री ज्ञान सम्बन्ध देशिक परमाचार्य स्वामिन् अत्रागत्य परिपाल्य च अस्मान् विज्ञान वितरणेन विजयी भव जय जय।
Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda 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 Paramashivoham.
Nithyanandam, welcome back to all of the viewers. After that most auspicious, gracious presence of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, who had revealed such profound truths about the science of Aushadha, the powerful powers of his presence on planet Earth, and how that is now going to be simply helping the world have super conscious breakthrough. After 27 years of passionate, driven, and determined hard work to bring super conscious breakthrough to the whole world, today 1 billion people across the world are enjoying and are enriched by the teachings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Today, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism beautifully, eloquently allowed us to be in his presence as he gave the great divine revelations on the science of Aushadha. Aushadha being one of the greater sciences of Sanatana Hindu Dharma. And like this, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has even personally made the Aushadhas, energized, and even taught the energization process. And that same Aushadha has been shipped, delivered, distributed across the world to thousands of places, helping, enabling people to manifest Shaktis all over the world. And with more than 2,500 Satsangh centers across the world, places where people gather, where hundreds and thousands of people are enriched and continuously living this Hindu lifestyle. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is forging a new world where enlightenment is a lifestyle and inherent in every single part of your day, and you're living in a world which is increasingly, rapidly, literally being destroyed, and we are seeing it in front of our eyes. And in this day and age, it is enlightenment and the sacred sciences of enlightenment that each and every one of us needs to understand, needs to imbibe in our lives, as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had beautifully revealed to each and every one of us. What we thought was irrelevant in our lives, perhaps just 5 years ago, even 2 years ago, the spiritual truths, the books that we picked up, the discourse that we came across on YouTube just casually, everything now is extremely relevant. And it's just the last lifeline we are holding on to during this cosmic deluge. And as so much is going on in the world, we're holding on to that time. It is at this time that we, each and every one of us, should see the importance, the necessity, significance of ensuring that we have the integrity to the Hindu lifestyle, the enlightenment lifestyle, and integrity to the sciences, the great knowledge and the truths from Sanatana Hindu Dharma, which Paramashiva has revealed 60,000 years ago, and which he himself decided to incarnate on planet Earth once again and revive on planet Earth to help each and every one of us sail through this pralaya. Unfortunately, there are too many extreme terrorist forces out there who plot, conspire, and criminally strategize to destroy the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and literally take over all of the resources, all of the people, violate, rape, and absolutely dehumanize the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and all of the community around, all of his disciples and the community who live in Kailasas across the world. And they plot and conspire to absolutely destroy the entire thing. And for the last 10 years, us Kailasians across the world know, and we have seen, experienced, and some of us have been victim to the extreme brutal persecution of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and the ASMT community, the Adi Shaivite minority community, which he is reviving. Now, over the last few days, I'm sure many of you have heard that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, this persecution which has been literally following him for the last decade. We have seen finally that our voice is heard by the UN and the ONHCR. And I hope that each and every one of the viewers has had the opportunity, has been able to view how Kailasa is featured on the ONHCR website, the UN website, and the persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and the rights of indigenous women and the denial of the rights of indigenous women is presented to the whole world through the platform, the powerful platform of the United Nations. This is an extremely amazing, and it's an extremely amazing breakthrough for all of us Kailasians, and of course for Kailasa, to have, after 10 years of continuously being barbated by persecution. And across the world, in US, in India, in Canada, in Malaysia, we've been continuously under attack. And not only that, as disciples of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and disciples who love and see our Guru as God, our caretaker of all of our worries, and who has literally helped us empower ourselves, taken care of our basic necessities and our spiritual necessities, everything needed for us to live a higher lifestyle and to enrich and encourage our ambition for a higher lifestyle and a higher experience of human life. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has literally taken care of everything. And for us to see so much he has gone through, being arrested for 53 days in 2010, being blackmailed, having undergone third-degree torture, and then just within a few months, seeing at least more than 120 cases attacked and filed, false cases which are filed against him, and 14,000 hours of media hatred. It has been so painful, devastating to see how someone who has brought so much of good in our lives and reintroduced each and every one of us to the pureness and goodness of our consciousness, our soul, to go through so much. And it cannot be underestimated, it cannot be overtold, exaggerated, the amount of persecution, assassination attempts that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has gone through. So it's just an amazing breakthrough that fills us with immense gratitude that we have finally found a voice, a platform, and especially through the United Nations, one of the largest advocates for human rights. And of course, for the last decade, we have been going door to door, judiciary to judiciary, government to government, media house to media house, just trying to have our voice heard. Today, over the last few days, since the time that the UN had recognized the persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and the ASMT women in the ASMT community, we have been requesting all the viewers on this platform who regularly tune into this platform to listen to our story further and help us establish our story to the whole world, establish the persecution of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism to the whole world, and help the whole world, all the international media channels, all of the international organizations who we have a common cause with, all Hindus all over the world, to understand the truth of our story, the truth of the persecution of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and the stories of the personal trauma and stories of so many victims, children, women who underwent so much just for nothing, but because we want to be living the lifestyle of enlightenment and living under the guidance and teachings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Over the past few days, we have been requesting each and every one of the viewers to share this victory that we've had, this final platform that we now have on the ONSCR website, where our story is being heard and legitimized by a very well-established international peaceful organization, and help us start to bring more and more good to the world, to help us defeat the attacks against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and allow the mission of Kailasa, the tremendous good that can come to the world that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, the incarnation of Paramashiva, descended on planet Earth for. Today, we would like to present to all of the viewers an extremely important aspect of the persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and the ASMT women. On the 2nd of March 2010, the whole world came to know, and for the first time, it became revealed to the masses the amount of persecution, conspiracy going on against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and how the objectification of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and the objectification of women of the ASMT community has been proliferated and used as a weapon to start inciting hatred against women of the ASMT community and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself. And ultimately, this hatred was incited to such an extent to cause mob lynchings, to ultimately justify the propaganda against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and justify the false cases against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and ultimately justify why they were out to destroy him and eliminate him and assassinate the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. We'd like to begin, first of all, by explaining to all of the viewers how in Sanatana Hindu Dharma, the original Sanatana Hindu Dharma, the practice and lifestyle of the Adi Shaivite minority tradition was a absolutely zero discrimination community. And it's not a community, I should say, it's a civilization where zero discrimination was tolerated. And not only this, an invaluable teaching of all inclusiveness and acceptance was proliferated among every single individual, every single being in the ASMT community. And for this, for a civilization to happen, all genders were accepted. And not only that, there were 11 genders which had been accepted, recognized, and people lived, whether it's a male, female, bisexual, and different sexual orientations, all of them were accepted in Hinduism, recognized, and also empowered for their pureness of consciousness, empowered for being divine themselves. Each and every person, no matter their gender, no matter their sexual orientation, was empowered for their infinite consciousness, for what they truly were, the pure consciousness. And in Sanatana Hindu Dharma, not only this, but the avatars, the incarnations, were accepted to have and express the qualities of Ardhanarishwara, meaning that they were beyond gender. They were beyond the qualities of male, female, or qualities of bisexual and any sort of sexual orientation. In fact, in the Avatar Shastra, it is very much written, told that avatars have the quality of being Ardhanarishwara, being embodiments of Ardhanarishwara, as in they were literally beyond gender, beyond male and female. And no matter if it was women or male, they were equally empowered for their infinite possibility. And male and female, no matter what gender, was allowed to practice rituals, were allowed to take up sannyas, were allowed to take up the lifestyle of being inside of the monastic order. They were allowed to be in the any order that they prefer, that they choose by their nature. And they were able to empower themselves where they felt was right and true to themselves, express themselves as they wished. Yes, sorry for the technical glitch. As I was saying, in Sanatana Hindu Dharma, the 11 genders were accepted, and each and every single one was empowered for their infinite possibility. And there were more than hundreds, more than 10,000 sampradayas where they were empowered, and all genders lived in one civilization in harmonious equality, in harmonious living. So in this community, this is what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving through the revival of the Adi Shaivite minority tradition. And in Kailasas across the world, this same practice was in his revival. So meaning in Kailasas across the world, 2/3 of the leadership positions are actually held by women, and women are allowed to practice the rituals. Women are allowed to become jnanacharyas, meaning they're allowed and enabled, empowered to become spiritual teachers and guides in anyone's path to having a super conscious breakthrough. And each of the women were trained and empowered by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And myself included, we were each and every one of us trained and empowered, encouraged, enabled, and surrounded with the ecosystem which would enable us to become successful, empowered leaders as we were living in the ancient Hindu civilization.
Let us now watch a short clip of how powerfully the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving the female orders, especially the female sannyas order and the female Rudra Kanya order. So we have a short clip that we want to play with you about the Rudra Kanya Sampradaya being revived by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism.
Hinduism is home to a lineage of powerful, chaste women, the Rudra Kanya. Hinduism is home to a lineage of powerful, chaste women, the Rudra Kanyas. They embody a ferocious statement of devotion and chastity to Mahasadashiva.
Woman is emotion, her breathing is her power. A chaste woman, her breathing will impact the universe.
A Rudra Kanya burns the society's idea of what a woman should be.
She is the very form of Devi herself, Adi Parashakti.
She is eternally auspicious, Nitya Sumangali.
She is the embodiment of chastity,
where every cell in her body lives only for Mahasadashiva.
In Hindu tradition, there are beautiful sampradaya, the Rudrakanya Sampradaya, the sacred strong women, sacred powerful women who are dispassionate, who have no strings attached, who are completely in the space of Vairagya, most sacred, most powerful space. This whole generation, the Sampradaya of Rudrakanyas, dedicated their life for keeping the sacred science of Vedagamic tradition.
As you can see how the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving all the ancient sampradayas and not just the sacred feminism. As Sadashiva Priya was telling earlier, the very Adi Shaivite minority tradition, and we can have the NTV operator can project Sadashiva Priya as well. So we can have in Adi Shaivite minority tradition and in Hinduism, Hinduism accepts 11 genders. So LGBTQ plus and more, Hinduism recognizes and the 11 genders. So everyone has a place in Hinduism. Nobody feels that they are not welcomed or they are not a part of this tradition. And the 11 genders in Hinduism, how Hinduism categorizes based on the 4 different categories. One is physical. What is your physical gender? What is your physiological gender, psychological gender, and conscious gender? And the permutation combination of these 4 form the 11 genders of Hinduism. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving all the 11 genders and letting the Hindus know that from the scriptures, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has quoted from the Agamas, where it very clearly quotes the acceptance of 11 genders. In one of the places of the Agamas, where Paramashiva himself says that when you are applying how bhasma should be applied on the forehead, and it says this is how male should apply, and this is how female should apply, and this is how all the other 11 genders, all the other genders out of the 11 genders, this is how all the other genders should apply. So very clearly in the Agamas, which are the source scriptures of Hinduism, there is a reference to the 11 genders. That is why ASMT, which is one of the sects of Hinduism, is extremely progressive and at the same time extremely traditional. So progressive doesn't mean modern and untraditional. Hinduism is progressive and Hinduism is traditional, extremely traditional at the same time. So the first point that we want to share with all of you is that there are 11 genders in Hinduism. Hinduism accepts LGBTQ and all the 11 genders. And the Supreme Pontiff has declared himself to be a sannyasi and of a transcendental gender. And the very concept of transcendental gender, we wanted to give an idea. See, male is not 100% male. In him, 51% is male and 49% is female. Because that is why you'll see in many of us, right? In many females, you may see some male attributes or characteristics, the way they behave, talk. And then the men, you will see some of them are very emotional. So it is not that a person is 100% male and 100% female. No, there is 51% you are male and then 51% you are female. And the one of transcendental gender is the embodiment, Ardhanarishwara, the Paramashiva, the incarnation of Paramashiva, who is Ardhanarishwara, represents the perfect balance of male and female energies in us. So 50% male and 50% female. When the male and the female parts, the components are perfectly in balance, then you become a being of transcendental gender. That is why if you see the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, many a times we have seen just one half of the body will be completely radiating the divine masculine and the other part will be radiating the divine feminine aspects of the divine. Yes, Mata Shivpriya, would you like to add something to it?
Yes, and not only that, how in the presence of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, every single being feels connected and feels absolutely fulfilled. That is the quality where when you feel absolutely sure of yourself and your gender, you can make that happen in another person. That's a very deep, almost conscious quality of the spiritual aspects of this deep completion, which a avatar incarnation of Paramashiva can radiate through his body. And so ultimately that is what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, whether it is anyone, how he could simply complete them through his presence, because of being absolutely sure of himself. Now, as Jnanatma Swami had as explained just now, in all these 4 levels of gender, how complete you are is determining what is your gender and what is the expression of your gender and the way that you interact with other genders as well, and how you relate with others and how you're complete with your gender and your identity, your gender identity.
Exactly.
And so in this way, yes.
So sorry to interrupt you here. I just wanted to add to what you're saying, right? The very concept of Ardhanarishwara, where a being is of transcendental gender, gone beyond the identities of being male and female. And this very same aspect was attacked by the anti-Hindu and the neo-Hindutva groups, saying, and when Swamiji, when the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was targeted and during the persecution, he was ridiculed. So much of character assassination happened, ridiculing that Swamiji is saying he's not a man. Actually, from the age of 3, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has practiced yoga and and so many different things. And his entire body is a yogic physiology and a yogic physique, where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is demonstrating the highest aspects of yoga, where his body has gone beyond the gender of male and female. And when the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was arrested illegally by the anti-Hindu elements and by the Neo-Hindutva group attacking, that's when the Supreme Pontiff revealed that the Supreme Pontiff is of transcendental gender. He's gone beyond the male and female, and you can do a medical test and you will see very clearly the Supreme Pontiff is of transcendental gender. His body does not have the male characteristics of an adult male. That is what the Supreme Pontiff meant. However, yes, ma'am.
Yes, I'd just like to add. Yes, I'd just like to add the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was initiated into Bala Sannyas from the age of 3 years old, and ultimately he was surrounded in an ecosystem with highly adept aghoris and gurus, people who had themselves been, who had mastered going beyond gender and from the young age been able to express these powers, express these higher qualities of going beyond gender. And at the age of 12 years old, and as well as at the age of 16 years old, the Supreme how he had been able to accomplish the superconscious mutation for celibacy, and as well he had then after that been initiated as the incarnation of Paramashiva at the age of 16. So at the age of 16 itself, he had demonstrated to some of the most esteemed gurus in India itself, and to the most accomplished Aghori sadhus as well. And he established how he had expressed the quality of the superconscious mutation for celibacy, and therefore he had been and therefore once he had established that, demonstrated that, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was initiated in the Yoga Pattabhishekam at the age of 16 years old. Yes, leading with all the viewers for that technical difficulty. As I was saying, at the age of 3 years old, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was initiated into Bala Sannyas. He was in a beautiful ecosystem with highly adept and esteemed gurus. And at the age of around 13, 14 years old, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had accomplished and demonstrated how he actually manifested the quality, the superconscious mutation for celibacy. And he demonstrated this to the most esteemed Aghori sadhus in India. And just recently, in September last year, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism revealed how this mutation process had happened, what the sacred mutation was to express the superconscious quality of celibacy. And therefore, having demonstrated this to all of his gurus, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was after that initiated during the Yoga Pattabhishekam as the incarnation of Paramashiva. So from the age of 3 years old, and of course his happening on planet Earth himself had established that he was an incarnation and expressing the qualities beyond gender. And as Manyahatma Swami was saying, and in 2010, when the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was forcibly kidnapped, arrested, and then interrogated, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had been interrogated, and his only answer was that he was, of course, not capable of what these people were alleging, and that he was not a man. But using this very statement, the media went absolutely ballistic, trying to mock, ridicule, and incite hatred in the public for the superconscious qualities and the expression of superconscious. Sentiments of millions of Kailasians, of disciples of the Supreme Pontiff across the world. And not only the fact that he is a transcendental gender, that he is absolutely beyond gender, but even how he is a sannyasi. They literally made the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, they just fabricated, morphed, even made so many graphics that would just destroy and show the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, dehumanize him entirely. And ultimately what this would do is incite hatred among the public and enable the public to just sit back and make no opinion and justify the acts of torture and how they would later on attempt to assassinate the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism.
And here you can see, as the media article is showing, everything that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism reveals about his body being of transcendental gender, where because of the highest tapas and the yoga, and from the age of 3 that Swamiji had been trained into, his very physiology has gone beyond that identity of a male or a female. Though the Supreme Pontiff may be carrying a male body, he said, I am declaring myself of the transcendental gender, where I do not feel that I am a male or a female. And we have done so many medical tests on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, which show very clearly that the male hormone level in Swamiji's body is less than that of a 6-year-old child, which is unheard of. So even medically, scientifically, we have been able to show that the Supreme Pontiff is of transcendental gender. He may be an adult male as per his age, but the body, hormone level, and all these show completely different. So even scientifically, we have been able to prove that. But however, the media continues to abuse the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and spread so much of hate speech and made him a laughing stock in the media, and that's what they continue to do. And
in fact, the medical records that were done in 2014 show that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism expresses the testosterone levels of a 6-year-old. Literally a 6-year-old, meaning that what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was declaring to the world, that he was transcendental gender, that he was absolutely incapable of the crimes that they were alleging, was true from the beginning. And yet in the media, what the general public was knowing was the complete opposite. And the frenzy that the media created allowed the criminals and the neo-Hindutva militant forces to kidnap the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and torture him, trying to get a false confession out of him, and then trying to assassinate him ultimately. And not only this, in so many different ways, the Hindu culture that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was reviving. For example, saying that linga worship was phallic worship, and saying that the way that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was dressing was cross-dressing. All of this is absolute crimes against Sanatana Hindu Dharma that we have not shown to the world and have not told to the world. And finally, only through today when the UN is recognizing the persecution of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, we are actually having a voice for all of these absolute crimes and the denial of human rights of Hindus, and of course, ultimately the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself. And it is not just the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Of course, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism went through the most brutal, with over 70 assassination attempts over the course of 10 years. And so many other attacks to all of his adinams across the world too, and how literally in all different directions attack was being filed against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, whether it's physical attack in the properties and in the adinams, whether it was direct physical attack against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and his physical body, or it was his disciples. It was always.
And I just wanted to, Sadashivri, at this moment, I just wanted to pause and just share a very short clip, a revelation by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism about his own gender. Let's watch the short clip.
Yes, ma'am.
I can say 2-3 things happened permanently after enlightenment. First thing, I can say 2-3 things happened permanently after enlightenment. First thing, the inner chattering is not there. The gap which I gave just now, even in that few seconds, there's no word. Pure space. The second thing, the idea, the boundary, the border ends here and here starts the world. That border consciousness is not there. Whenever I have to handle the body moves, the handling happens. But when I relax, again that idea is not there. That boundary feeling doesn't exist. Third thing, even though body is male body, it is too personal, but I can say, it's up to you to understand or not, I don't mind. Because Swamiji has asked, at least for Swamiji's sake, I am sharing. Even though body is male body, the identity male or female has disappeared. The psychological identity that I am male or I am female, that doesn't exist. It is not there.
Like the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism revealed, that very identity that I am male or I am female is not there. And this has been continuously been ridiculed in the media. And here you can actually see we have a detailed analysis. And we have published in the nithyanandatruth.org, where very clearly it shows that the Supreme Pontiff is of transcendental gender. And for those of you who are keen, you can go ahead and read this article, which is in the nithyanandatruth.org. I'll just project the article here, where it says the medical test established Paramahamsa Nithyananda is beyond sexuality. So even the medical reports and records very clearly show the Now, while this is on one side, right, the Supreme Pontiff is of transcendental gender. However, the anti-Hindu elements continue to ridicule and continue to isolate Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, just inciting mob hatred and mocking him based on the gender, and projecting him as if he is of gay and he's of the third gender. And whatnot. And they used all this to hurt and abuse the sentiments of millions of Hindus, to whom Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the God and the Guru. And they used all these to justify all the false cases and to increase the hate speech and to make the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism look like a person of questionable character, and that he is not a traditional Hindu guru the way that the neo-Hindutva claims to, just to kind of isolate the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism from the rest of the community.
And the strategy from the beginning with the anti-Hindu, neo-Hindutva militant and terrorist forces is to use the media, their media influence, and literally the media which they own, to make all the qualities which they have, and whether it is raping, whether it is being rapists or child pedophiles or child rapists, or whether it is drug trafficking, all the qualities which they use Sangha resources, they infiltrate the Sangha, use Sangha resources, and then they project that in the media onto the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and use all that to arrest and destroy and ultimately try to assassinate
and use the same
Pontiff.
aspect. See, first of all, they ridicule the gender of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Second of all, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism takes an extremely, as an ASMT leader, takes an extremely progressive stance when it comes to women, when it comes to women's rights, gender equality. He allows sannyas initiation for women, which was and is a part of the Hindu scriptures. However, over the years, it has been diluted and it has been misrepresented that Hinduism does not allow women to take up the path of monkhood or sannyas, whereas the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism quotes directly from the Upanishads, where there is a very clear reference that the women can be initiated into sannyas. So one is initiating women into sannyas. Second is reviving the Rudra Kanya Sampradaya, where these beings, the Rudra Kanyas, are that special order where they dedicate their life in service of Paramashiva, and they are extremely adept in performing arts like dance and music, and these Rudra Kanyas are the ones where they take care of the temple, they take care of the temple treasures, they perform rituals in the temple, they dance, do performing arts only for Paramashiva, not for any human being. So it's a very sacred sect of Rudra Kanyas, which was again criminalized and misrepresented as prostitutes, and the whole order of Rudra Kanyas was destroyed. Now the Supreme Pontiff is reviving that. So one is the Sanya Sampradaya, one is the Rudra Kanya Sampradaya, and not just that, in terms of Bhairavi, the Bhairavis, the Sampradaya of Bhairavis, Rishis, Rishikas, Vanaprasthis, every order, the female order, Swamiji is reviving. And also women in leadership positions. If you see in Kailasa and in Nithyananda Sangha, we have so many women in leadership positions who head different organizations, or who head different regions, like whom we call as the House of Representatives. We have more than 60% of the House of Representatives of Kailasa who are representing different geographical regions are women. And women do take leadership position in the Sangha. And if you see even in the Nithyananda TV hosting, most of us who conduct programs or who take these classes, we are women. And we are given this platform to come and share. So the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism extremely progressive when it comes to stances taken for women and gender equality, and even allowing us to perform the temple rituals and do everything possible. And just because of this, the stance that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism takes towards women, he is being a prime target. Because the neo-Hindutva elements, if they want to do a cultural genocide of a community, in this case, the Adi Shaivite minority tradition, they target the vulnerable segments of the society, which is women and children. So they targeted the indigenous women of ASMT, and they targeted the ASMT leader, which is the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And exactly this particular segment, dimension of the persecution, has been recognized by the United Nations in the report, which you can download from the United Nations website. Yes, Masadashi.
And not only that, Ma, so it's not just, of course, this is not just an isolated incident. It's not the first time we're seeing that the sexual assault, rape, child abuse is being used as a weapon of war against entire civilization. If we see the Cambodian genocide, Rwandan genocide, if we see even the Jewish Holocaust, rape and child abuse and the attacks against women, all of that is used as a weapon of war, and that is also recognized as a legitimate weapon, a legitimate attack method and strategy for supremacist racist forces to take over a civilization and exploit people and deny people of their basic human rights. And of course, finally today we have a platform where the Hindus and the Hindu Holocaust and the Hindu the persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and the ASMT women is finally being heard. And now, of course, as you said, that can be downloaded. And of course, we encourage and request all of the viewers to share that link. Make sure that you're sharing it. Take a few minutes and share, because it is the voices of hundreds of victims who have undergone what they have gone through and who have undergone so much of heinous crimes and assault.
Absolutely. And one is, how the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving that respect for the divine feminism, and women are worshipped as Devi Parashakti, and there is no discrimination against gender or sexual identity in the Adishavit minority tradition. Rudrakanyas and sannyasis are so highly revered, respected, and given their special unique place. So many women in leadership positions, and Swamiji has always given the highest ideals. And if you see the ASMT tradition, you will see the great symbols of Vedic feminism, like Akka Mahadevi and Bhairavi Brahmani, Vellayammal, the Ammani Amman. So many examples are there of powerful women who radiated that space and the powers of Paramashiva. And if you see, the new Hindutva elements directly targeted, the ASMT women, the indigenous ASMT women in leadership positions. They targeted indigenous ASMT women from the marginalized sections of the society, like the Dalit community, and they targeted minor, young girls. And here I can give an example of how the Neo Hindutva gang and the anti-Hindu gang targeted Nithyananda Maheswami, one of the senior sannyasis of the Nithyananda order, and publishing so much of, she used to be a very successful film actress in her life before sannyas, and they publicized all sorts of hate speech against her, and even blackmailed and threatened her to file a rape case against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and they tried everything possible.
And not only that, not only that, Man, using her her status, her hard work as an actress, as a well-established actress with over 100 films, using all of that as a weapon to destroy the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, absolutely dehumanizing and making her invisible in their plots and schemes to destroy Sanatana Hindu Dharma and destroy the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. That's what they do with every single woman and children, and in their attacks against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. They make us invisible, they make us weapons, and they try to make us weapons, and ultimately, even without our, they ultimately attack us, and then they try, even without our knowledge or our consent or everything, they try to their best to make us weapons in their plots and schemes, their conspiracies against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And that is the truth of what is happening in the media. In the media over the last decade, they've used women specifically to absolutely just make stories about what's going on in the Adinam, and completely turn against the empowerment that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is doing, the absolute beautiful contributions that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is doing against his own self, and ultimately to destroy him. What he was doing was empowering each individual, helping each woman, child, empower themselves with their infinite possibility to become beautiful role models in a Hindu civilization. And yet they and yet they use that in order to make up and manipulate lies about the most sacred things and use that against us, and absolutely destroy our families and our lives. And this has happened repeatedly to thousands of women inside of the ASMT community. And
one such example also I can give, that of Manitya Supriyananda Swami, who was from the Dalit community, and actually none of us in the Adinam even knew she was from that marginalized section of the society. But once if you are a part of the ASMT, there is no kind of you will not even know people from which background and what. Once they are into the community and they are a part of the community, everybody's highest potential, you see somebody only as their possibility and their potential, and that's how Supreme Court of Hinduism has taught us, right? But these kind of marginalized section of the society, women from such sections are targeted inside of the ASMT community. And one such person who was actually sexually abused was Ma Nitya Supriyananda Swami by the anti-Hindu element, who filed a false case against the Supreme Court of Hinduism. He himself directly sexually abused this one of the sannyasis from the Dalit community, from the Dalit caste, and she was so much distraught with what happened to her, what the anti-Hindu elements did to her. And another example that I can give is that of Ma Nithyanandita, who was literally a 16-year-old. When she was just a 16-year-old girl, she was trolled in social media for coming out and fighting for the women's rights and standing for the beautiful divine symbol of Hinduism, divine feminine symbol of Hinduism, Andal, whom we worship, and she's revered even today for her unconditional love towards Bhagavan Venkateshwara. And just for that, she's worshipped and her songs are sung even till today. And she was being portrayed and misrepresented as a prostitute, as a Devadasi and as a prostitute woman. And when the voices were given, when Ma Nithyanandita, as a 16-year-old Balasant of Kailasa, when she stood up and gave the voice, hundreds and thousands of media channels trolled this young 16-year-old girl who was fighting for Sanatana Hindu Dharma, fighting for the rights of Vedic feminism. She was trolled left, right, and center. However,
and at the time, actually, Ma, she was a minor. These insensitive haters on media and as well online, they had framed and showed her in such vile, defaming ways. She was just, I think, 15 years old, 16 years old at that time. It was absolutely atrocious to see one of my sister sannyasis and her being projected in the media in such a extremely dehumanizing way. And this has happened for every single woman who decides
exactly.
to empower.
See, one more point is, all these Balasans, these Ma Nithyananditas are literally see Swamiji not just as a guru, but as a spiritual father. And, it's being told in the media as if, there are like such vulgar images of portraying her with Swamiji, and it was so disheartening. And imagine for a minor girl, a 16-year-old girl, seeing such rubbish portrayals on the media, how it would have affected her as a small girl who wants to stand up and fight what wrong she did. She fought for Hinduism. She stood for Vedic feminism. She stood as a real symbol of Vedic feminism and fought out in the world, and she ended up being trolled. So it is important that we as Hindus bring out the persecution that the indigenous women of Hinduism and of ASMT community have gone through. And thanks to the United Nations for publishing and recognizing the persecution of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and Kailasa. And in the upcoming segments, we will be sharing more of the persecution that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and as the women of ASMT community, what we have gone through. And we invite each and every one of you to please go ahead and share this information on social media with a hashtag which is projected on the screen. It's a little longer hashtag, so I'm going to read it out. It is hashtag UN recognizes persecution of SPH Nithyananda and Kailasa. So use this hashtag, share your thoughts on Twitter, on Facebook, share the official post on SPH JGM Nithyananda Paramashivam account on Facebook and on the official Twitter handle, retweet it, share and like, and also and share the Facebook post and the tweet.
Yes, and also as we're wrapping up, make sure that anyone who has an interested ear and also who could also be of influence and share this to a bigger audience, to more people, including the Hindu the Hindu celebrities and the Hindu leaders as well, and the sympathizers of any Hindu culture, anyone, anyone who is sympathizing with Hindu, if we share this
born
with
Hindu,
them,
practicing Hindu, living Hindu, inspired about Hinduism, it is our responsibility to share this widely. Let the world know about the Holocaust and the persecution, Holocaust of Hinduism and the persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam and Kailasa. Thank you so much for joining us for this segment. We will now be moving on to the Courtyard Power Manifestation session. So do stay tuned for the Courtyard Power Manifestation session. We will now be ending with the Purna Mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sarvam Bhagavat Shri Nithyananda Paramashiva Padukarpanamastu Om Nithyanandam.
Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda.
Let's start with the Sadguru Vandanam. Nithyanandam Paramasukhanam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gaganasadusham Tattamasyadi Lakshyam Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Let's go through the disclaimers. Security measures. No photography, video, audio recording. Important cautions. Please be aware of the important cautions. What is spa manifestation? Let's hear from Bhagwan himself explaining what is spa manifestation.
All the 25 states of consciousness, when they happen in you, due to your chemicals and hormones ups and downs, it is powerlessness. When it happens in you, out of your free will and consciousness, it is powerfulness. That's all. When you fall into sleep, it is powerlessness. When you enter into sleep, it is powerfulness. When you fall into dream, it is powerlessness. When you decide to dream, it is powerfulness. So I have added the ultimate powerfulness, Turiyatita, in your whole being and doing. Manifest all the powers. Understand, power manifestation is nothing but cognitive shift. It is not work. It is cognitive shift. Understand? It is just cognitive shift. It's not work. Work is a 4-letter word. Power manifestation is cognitive shift. Playing with life. Playing with being alive.
Bhagavan beautifully said, what is our manifestation? Being alive. It's a cognitive shift. It's a science. It's a science of our manifestation. It's a science because it is repeatable and all of us can manifest the powers of Paramashiva, which is authentic, time-tested, scientific and foolproof. And the evidences to support a human can experience all these powers and manifest all these powers and have a superconscious breakthrough. The evidences from the Shastra, the scriptural reference, the eternal unchangeable truth revealed in the source scriptures, the Vedas and Agamas, Apta Pramana, the experience and the results of the Aptas, the Rishis, Munis, Ganas, Nayanamas, Alvars, Siddhas, all of them manifesting all the powers of Paramashiva, which is authentic, time-tested and scientific and foolproof. Atma Pramana, account of His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, this millennium's avatar's personal experience of power manifestation, Bhagavan's very own Leelas. Beautifully, Bhagavan has manifested all the powers as per the Shastra and as per the Aptas. The Shakshi Pramanas, experience of the millions of disciple devotees, followers all around the world into the science of power manifestation, blessed and initiated by Bhagavan himself. Bhagavan has beautifully said, whoever comes to the Kailash courtyard, I myself will be there manifesting all the powers of Paramashiva and bringing all the auspiciousness and abundance to each one of us. Prathiksha Pramana, the scientific study measuring the effect of being in the enlightened state. The thoughtless space is being clearly measured in Bhagavan, in the devotees, in the Balasans, that we are experiencing the oneness with Paramashiva to manifest the mirroring neurons, start functioning as per how the science says in quantum, and we start manifesting whatever Bhagavan is manifesting as our reality. Let's go to the Shastra Pramana. The Shastra Pramana are the eternal unchangeable truth revealed in the source scriptures, the Vedas and the Agamas. Beautifully, Bhagavan has revealed in this Shiva Samhita 5.7678 for the power scriptural reference for the Ashtamaha Shakti.
तस्य स्यात् परमा सिद्धिर् अणिमादिगुणप्रदा वायुस्तन्न चदते देहे रसवृद्धिर्भवेद् ध्रुवम् आकाशपनकजगल्पीयूषमपि बध्नते मरणं खाद्यते तेन स केनापि न खाद्यते तस्य स्यात् परमा सिद्धिर् अणिमादिगुणप्रदा वायुः स न चरते देहे रसवृद्धिर्भवेद् ध्रुवम् आकाशपनकजगलपीयूषमपि बध्नते.
Bhagavan Paramashiva says beautifully, death is eaten by him, he is eaten by none. He manifests the highest powers of Ashtama Siddhi, Anima, Lahima, Mahima, Gaima. The Vayu, the wind energy, moves equally throughout his body, the juice of his body also increasing. Rasa Vriddhi, the nectar exuding from the eternal lotus. Akasha Pankaja also increases in his body. Beautifully, Bhagavan has said that death is eaten by him, he is eaten by none. Hathiram Baba was once prisoned and he was into the prison that he could not manifest anything. And then the king demanded him, he will be left free only if he brings the hathi, the elephants, through the jail railings and make them eat tons of sugarcane and finish it overnight. And then only he would believe that what Hathiram Baba is manifesting as reality. And all he did was be in the oneness space of Paramashiva, just pray to Paramashiva. He was an ardent Venkateshwara devotee. He prayed to Venkateshwara that whatever you want to manifest and show the world the reality, please go ahead and manifest. And simply to the surprise of everybody, hundreds of elephants came into the prison and ate all the sugar canes. Again and again, we have so many things which we have referenced where what we think as our ideology, as our logical thinking, breaks down and simply manifestation, something very huge, phenomenal has happened in the reality. Beautifully, we can explain. If an ant sees a paper, and it sees a paper because it knows a length and breadth, it can only understand 2 dimension because of the size it is, and it thinks it exists. But when you start stacking the paper one top of another, it does not know the depth dimension because it is not able to be aware of it. So it thinks the paper is vanishing. But as you see, you can know that there is something which you can have a depth dimension. You can have a place, you can have a position, you can have a length, breadth, depth, height, everything. The 4 dimension that you can experience, including the place, the time. But the ant does not realize it. So it realizes it as a disappearing. But when we look at certain things of life, like all these greater truths, Manikavachkar, Andal, Trilangaswami, all of them just disappeared into the deity, according to us. But actually, they are going into the different dimensions that we are not able to perceive. So there is something beyond our perceptional reality, what we perceive as our reality, that we can also experience the higher consciousness, that these great truth is being revealed to so many of millions who have experienced that and manifested as power manifestation. That is what Bhagavan is raising us into again and again. He is beautifully saying, revive yourself and reinvent yourself, rebuild yourself, and practice the science of unclutching completion, manifesting the powers. And don't waste your time in anything else except to get enlightened, the consciousness and the body. These are the only 2 things which is going to be useful to you and going forward for the next things that are going to happen in our reality, even in the outer world. Even as outer world reality, the auspiciousness, the abundance starts flowing for the people who understands that consciousness is the very necessity of life. How you think breath is the very necessity to live the life. Same way Bhagavan has given us consciousness, the very necessity, and it is also the way simplest way of existence. That we understand that it is possible, all these are possible even now, as quantum is explaining. That quantum is explaining how we can go into the multi-dimension, how we can exist in multiple places, how the mirror neurons, somebody who lives in the quantum can mirror that into us, where we can manifest the same reality. How we learn to walk, how we learn to talk, same thing. We can also learn to manifest all these powers, entangling with Bhagavan who has manifested all these powers. That is why oneness with Paramashiva is a Shakti Pada that Bhagavan is giving us, the boons that he is giving, showering on us, the initiation, blessing, again and again becomes more important than anything else in life. Bhagavan has clearly said the oneness is the highest currency that you can use in the eternal world. The money is the wealth or is the currency that we use in the current world, which is a Mahamaya, which is not going to serve us any purpose when we are in the deathbed. Nothing is going to help us. But consciousness, the oneness space with Paramashiva, can lead us beyond the death, and he is eaten by none. If we start understanding, and how can we experience this? Okay, there is a possibility. How can I experience this? That is what is all about power manifestation. How each day you learn the science of swimming, learn the science of studying, learn the science of cooking. Same way, the consciousness is also something which clicks with you. How the swimming just clicks with you. You can't read a book or you can't do anything. You just mirror somebody doing it and you start also experiencing that float. That just clicks with your brain, that something in you starts floating instead of just falling into the water and drowning. So here clearly Bhagavan gives us signs. When you understand, constantly hold the space that I am Paramashiva, I am Parashakti, and holding the space of oneness with Paramashiva again and again and entangling with him manifest as powers. And leaving the thoughts that you have, self-doubt, self-denial, self-hatred, all that unclutching continuously and making the outer world redundant. How when you get up from the sleep or last birth you had such a loss, you do not bother what happened in your dream or in your previous birth. You are completely unclutched to start a new thing. That is how Bhagavan says, reinvent yourself, revive yourself, and stand up to the new reality that you are Paramashiva and manifest your life as Paramashiva as you want, commanding the whole life as your reality. And Bhagavan is raising you to the higher consciousness, not lowering us, but raising to each one of us and telling, hey, you are $1 trillion kid. Stand up and live like one. And that's all we need to do. Connect to Bhagavan Paramashiva and let him manifest as our reality, understanding that if we mirror with a quantum space, we also become the quantum space, manifesting all these higher powers and higher reality. Scientifically and consciously, we can understand this beautiful science. Now we can see how Agastya, these 18 Siddhars were pro in all these powers, and simply when Vindhya mountain was increasing the size, blocking the sun, and the sun god took the help of Agastya, Agastya told the Vindhya mountain, till I come back, do not raise. And he stopped. Simple obedience, simple integrity with his guru, and simply he stopped, and Agastya never went back to tell him to raise. All these sciences were true, and how Agastya was living, that he could digest a human, he could digest an ocean, he could stop the mountain, he could play the veena and just download Saraswati. And all the science was just available, not only to them, now it's available because we have Bhagavan to entangle and manifest as reality. How we see and learn how to walk, the mirror neurons in us understand. Same thing when we entangle with Bhagavan, who has manifested all these powers as consciousness. When we understand the space of Advaita, the oneness space, that is the quantum space, we understand that everything exists as a quantum, as Advaita, as frequency, as Paramashiva, and we can manifest all the reality. Now, beautifully, Bhagavan explains this, how across the world, in whether it is a village, remote village, or old women, or a young man ready to be inspired, or anywhere in the world, any problem can be just sorted out by understanding that they are consciousness, they are Paramashiva. Bhagavan beautifully explains this in Atma Pramana.
Building like St. Louis or Los Angeles or Bidadi, wherever, the presence that functions, that presence that radiates, the presence that lives through. Understand? The presence you carry is Kalpataru. The presence you create in you, the space you create in you is Kalpataru. Sometimes I wonder, when I just look around, the banks of Ganga and banks of Kaveri and banks of New York River. Sometimes I wonder, in the banks of Ganga, banks of Yamuna, Kaveri, Narmada, and the foothills of Arunachala, Himalayas, everywhere, in so many places, all over the world. how the same science is so useful to every human being from every background. Whether it's a Western teenage boy having a problem with his girlfriend in New Zealand, or an American teenage girl having problem with a smoking pot addiction in California, or village youth addicted to country arak in Aminjikarai, or middle-aged man addicted to violence and aggression in the remote corners of Madurai, anybody having any problem anywhere in the world, how can this one science be a solution? Because it is solving. I am seeing. For example, today, the Kalpatar Darshan for the people in the Pattanam Ashram, one of the remote village in Tamil Nadu, and the woman Sivagangai in the Middle East. Woman and Pattanam. People from completely different background. But both of them are going to do the same process. And the process works for both of them. Works for both the group. Few days before we had a Kalpataru for a group in Singapore and group in Mexico. And for both the team, every participant in both the group feels precisely it is for them and it is working for them. How is it possible? Sometimes I wonder, how is it possible? Understand, sometimes I wonder how the same science is working for a person who has a problem in Guadalupe to Kanchipuram, Phoenix to Piranmalai. Whether you are a tired, retired, old lady, almost waiting to die or about to die, or a young, energetic, excited man who is waiting to enter into life, you carry that consciousness. Your embodiment of consciousness. You carry that Advaitic experience.
The beautiful space that Bhagavan is describing, how each one of us have beautifully experienced the oneness with Paramashiva and manifesting the powers of Paramashiva when we understand we are consciousness. Because we are consciousness only, we are even experiencing this reality. Otherwise, we are dead body. The body is not, the matter is not something which we can experience, but we are consciousness which uses this matter to experience that, to make us understand. The whole science, if we understand all that we function itself is a manifestation of Paramashiva, we will understand that how to manifest more powers. That is what Bhagavan says. When you know yourself, you will know the world and you will know the ultimate truth. The every action, even if we get hurt, we don't say this body got hurt. We say I got hurt, because it is still in the dream that we believe that we got hurt. If you get hurt in your dream, you don't go to a doctor. Same way, this body, when it gets hurt also, you do not have to go to the doctor. You can heal it, or you can just unclutch and make it disappear. All that possibility exists in our science, and all that can happen in a higher reality when we understand how we function. That is what Bhagavan is teaching us, to how to bring auspiciousness, health, wealth, happiness and bliss. Beautifully here, a devotee has shared in Sakshi Pramana evidences of how increasing the height of an object. They've traced the object twice. We have told them to two times trace the object, and again at the end of the session again trace it twice to see if they increased the size of the object, the height of the object. So you can also use an object and trace it completely and do it two times so that it is authentically a measurable increase, 5 to 10 units. And if you are wanting to increase your height or others' height, you can measure and mark it very clearly. Again, measure it two times. And also we'll like to show you how these balasans, the Rudras, are manifesting the power of Paramashiva so beautifully by lifting a weight literally 1.5 times the Rudra's weight.
And you will be seeing, as you can see, he is 54.1 kgs.
So 54 kgs. And on the bar, as I mentioned earlier, I got a little excited talking about this, is 115 kgs. And just to put this into perspective, I actually haven't lifted this weight in over 3 years. So what he's going to be doing is something I haven't trained and done in 3 years. And so I'm excited to see this. What he'll be comparing us up against, and again, this is very logical and there's a lot of numbers involved, he's lifting roughly 120 pounds more than somebody that is a beginner, which is completely insane because I'm assuming he hasn't been training. I don't know how long he's been training for, but I don't think he's been training very long. And so 120 pounds more than a beginner he'll be lifting, and he's lifting a weight that I haven't lifted in over 3 years. So I'll let him take this.
So that's great. Srinivasa Maharaj, you can come up in the front. You can see Srinivasa Maharaj is getting into the position. As you can see, Srinivasa Maharaj has lifted.
I don't mean to be a stickler for form and all this, but when it comes to training, form is everything. You're going to get much more power if you have like exact form. And I can say his form was not correct, but it didn't matter. That's what's shocking, is that you were able to somehow muster the strength without having the correct base.
And Srinivasan Maharaj is just 54 kgs and he has lifted over 115 kgs just like that without any effort.
Setting up the camera for increasing the height. You can set up the camera. If you have Jnananjan in your Kantamala, you can apply in your third eye and your temples. And a measuring scale, making sure you are measuring the object beautiful. And you can have a small object or dumbbell or anything that you would like to increase the height of the object. You can increase your height also, Mahima power. How beautifully Hanuman increased his height and flew across the ocean by just Ramanama. He understood the science. Hanuman, when he first met Rama, he questions Rama in 9 grammar form in Palnini, how the Sanskrit grammar has 9 forms, and he was playing with all those with Rama, questioning him even the basic questions to see what kind of a person Rama is. And it's not that Hanuman came and he melted in Rama. Actually, when Hanuman came, Rama melted in Hanuman. That's how the whole thing started. And how he turned to be just a Ramanama. The word Ramanama is all about Hanuman. And how he was able to increase his size or become very small or fly across the ocean or lift a mountain or catch the sun or make the sun rise in a different time, sunset in a different time, I should say. Anything was a possibility for him is only because he knew the science of Ramanama. If he can connect to Ramanama, he said, I can manifest any powers of Paramashiva. He was very clear and very much in gratitude that how he manifested all the powers of Paramashiva. Now let's put away our phone. Let's get into the deep meditative space of oneness with Paramashiva for a few minutes. Let's measure everything beautifully and correctly so that there is no external ways to increase this. It should be only a prasada of Paramashiva, Parashakti. You are Parashakti. You are Paramashiva. Holding that space of oneness, Advaita space, and continuously holding that again and again, when unclutching from any thought which is other than Paramashiva in you, constantly holding that space, entangling with Bhagavan, with a oneness space, makes you starts manifesting all the powers of Paramashiva. Now sit straight with your head, neck and spine in a straight line. Remember Paramashiva, all his powerful cognition that he was just pouring on all of us, the blessings, the initiations, and beautifully giving the powerful cognition how important it is for us to unclutch and be in completion and reinvent, rebuild, revive ourselves to a new being. And enlightenment is the only way of existence. And raising us and understanding these great things, manifesting powers, is the way of existence, going to be our future lifestyle. So he's giving us the greatest signs and reviving the whole consciousness into superconscious being. So let's start chanting the Maha Vakya intensely. When you entangle with someone who has manifested all these powers, you also manifest the powers. That is all Hanuman did. He went into Bhava of Rama and he chanted the Ramanama. He could manifest all the powers of Rama. And what all Vishnu can do, he was able to do. All that he knew is the simple science that when you entangle, it's like you having an AnyDesk and logging into another computer, which is a supercomputer, and you have access to everything in that desk. That's all. Same thing, when you connect to and you have a password, you just need to know the password. Mahavakya is the password. And you get into the computer is oneness with Paramashiva, just melting into Paramashiva, understanding you are that in physical form, in mental form, in action, in thinking, in every possible that you know as you, that you are Paramashiva, and sitting as Parashakti and manifesting 25 heads with 75 eyes and your 50 hands, continuously holding this space, manifest as powers. This is the science, and you can all experience the oneness and see it increase whatever you want to increase, bringing the auspiciousness and abundance into your life. And whatever you are manifesting is not just a piece of thing that you are increasing, but in your life you're increasing the conscious space, manifesting as reality. The abundance and auspiciousness is what you're increasing in your life. So let's start chanting the Mahavakya, whole being vibrating with the Mahavakya, bringing the thoughts to zero and entangling with Bhagavan. The mirror neurons in Bhagavan starts mirroring in you, where the manifestation happens. Whatever powers he can manifest, you can also start manifesting in that Shakti Pada. Your Bhava is very important to trigger this whole science into reality. So hold that oneness space, chant the Mahavakya, unclutch from everything you know other than Bhagavan, verbalization and visualization. Continuously holding that Bhava will manifest all the powers of Paramashiva. Continuously chant the Mahavakya, and at the end of the Mahavakya, when I stop it, you can measure again couple of times and make it authentically that it has increased, and you can share with the world. Now let's start experiencing the Ashtamaha Shakti and power of increasing the height by chanting the Mahavakya and entangling with Bhagavan. Let's get into the deep meditation.
Nithyananda Paramashivoham. 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 Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Vani open up, manifest in all of us. Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eyes. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. 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 Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Vani open up, manifest in all of us. Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eyes. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. 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 Om Paramashivoham. Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
So beautiful. Now you can verify whatever increase has happened, and if you've just lost the time, that's beautiful. You feel the oneness with Paramashiva. Just open your eyes and measure how much the beautiful space has increased your height or the object height. If you are recording, that's beautiful. If you can take a picture of it, that will be wonderful. That you can share with the world how Bhagavan has blessed, initiated us, and made each one of us go into that beautiful Nirvikalpa Samadhi space and manifest all these powers, entangling and manifesting for all of us. Beautifully, Bhagavan says how we drive our life with a broken steering and a broken brake, and we only crash land and understand that we are in the delusion. Instead, Bhagavan is giving us a beautiful way where inspiration and where we can understand the science just by entangling and constantly living in the oneness with Paramashiva, manifesting the higher science, higher reality, which is the very true nature of us. We are infinite, we are absolute. There is nothing can be violated and nothing can be removed from us and nothing can be taken from us. If we understand this science, we will be entangling with Bhagavan in the oneness space and manifesting all the powers of Paramashiva. We are absolutely deluded into thinking there is something else which can be happening other than us. There is nothing which is other than us. Everything is the perception of us manifesting as reality, as Paramashiva's will and our incompletion. If we remove our incompletion, it will be only the manifestation of Paramashiva in each of us as reality. And nothing can be removed. It's just how a laser beam is thrown on a screen, and you can decide what to be thrown on the screen by telling the laser beam, putting the pictures. Same way, your life is just a projection of what you see yourself and others as your reality, how you experience in your dream. It is not the real existential reality. How, when you're dreaming, you're actually sleeping. You're in your bed and your friends and families, but in the dream, you see so many things happening. That's exactly, we are consciousness. We are in quantum space, the subtlest space, has frequency, but we see ourselves in the gross body. We see everything that exists in the gross way. It also exists in the gross way when we have to perceive it and when we decide to perceive it. But it is not the only reality that we have to exist, that we can rest in peace in the lotus feet of Paramashiva, understanding the higher existence, how we exist in the reality. Just surrender to Bhagavan's lotus feet. Any of your confusion, chaos, unclutch from everything. It is not even part of you. It has not even touched you. The moon is seen because of the sun. The moon's flaw is seen is because of the sun. It is the very nature of us which shows all our incompletion. But the incompletion itself is not us. The sun is showing it, the clouds, because the sun exists. Without the sun, the clouds, we can't see it in the dark. The very incompletion is seen is because we are consciousness. But the incompletion is not us. The clouds are not sun. We understand this greater science and unclutch completely, bringing so much of completion and cognitive shift will make you manifest the higher science, higher reality. Again and again, go into the space of oneness with Paramashiva, entangle with him, get into the bhava. You are sitting as Para Shakti here, manifesting all the powers of Paramashiva and simply experiencing the oneness. Again and again, go deeper by chanting loudly. We'll have one more cycle. If you've already measured, you got your result, you can share it in the Facebook or YouTube, wherever you are. That will be wonderful for others and yourself to experience more oneness. And please go ahead, we can have one more cycle. Please go ahead and measure whatever you want to increase the height. And let's sit into the deep meditation. How many minutes does it take to stand up and walk or talk or eat? We mirrored all this to learn all this science. Same thing, manifesting powers is also very simple. It takes 3 seconds, Bhagavan says. So in few minutes, we can experience the ultimate that we are also Paramashiva, and we are Paramashiva. We are also the body which can manifest the Paramashiva space in us. So let's start chanting. Sit straight, put away your gadget for a few minutes and start chanting the Maha Vakya. Get into the bhava. How Ravana says, when I get into the bhava of Rama, even I cannot have lust. Same way, when you get into the bhava of Paramashiva, you cannot stop manifesting powers. He simply manifests every time, everything and everywhere. So you will also be manifesting all the powers when you get into the bhava, the beautiful Shakti Pada with oneness with Paramashiva. And chant the Mahavakya that you are listening, you're chanting deeply till it becomes a japa. And that raises your frequency, puts you into the no thought zone and experience the mirroring neurons to reflect in your life. This is a science. When we start doing it again and again and again in such a beautiful large number of group of people, simply it will become easy as a reality. And we can experience the oneness with Paramashiva more and more and more. And that beautiful space, the nectar, the whole space that Bhagavan said, you become the kalpatru, that you are auspiciousness and abundance can be experienced, each one of you can experience, and we'll fall into such a deep gratitude that whatever he's showering on us. And let's start chanting the Mahavakya to experience the oneness with Paramashiva and manifest the powers of Ashta Mahashakti.
Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Varni open up. Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Varni open up, manifest in all of us. Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eyes. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. 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 Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Paramashivoham, Paramashivoham.
Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Varni open up, manifest in all of us.
Paramashivoham, 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 Paramashivoham.
Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eyes. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. 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 Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Paramashivoham, Paramashivoham.
Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
So beautiful. Whatever Bhagavan has given, the prasada, please go ahead and share it with the world, even if it is just one line that you wanted to say. How Bhagavan has showered, taken all the effort to make sure each one of us are safe. Each one of us are initiated and manifesting all the powers of Paramashiva and bringing the abundance and auspicious even at this stage. So make sure you thank Bhagavan. Each one of you, just take 5 minutes of your time. Just go to tinyurl.com/powermanifestation. Share your experiences of satsang, powerful cognition from satsangs, or your power manifestation photos and beautifully you explaining your powerful cognition. Anything is fine. Just take 5 minutes. Billions of people need to hear from you and save their lives just through all these things. So if you share your power manifestation and tell the powerful cognition and thank Bhagavan, ultimately, he is manifesting through all of us. He has come down for each one of us to manifest all our reality. So make sure you share your experience with the world. And if you see a $sign at the end of the YouTube chat, contribute to Kailasa. Again and again, we ask you to contribute to expand the inner space of Kailasa in you. Each one of us, when we go to a temple, we offer something in the hundi or in the temple tank, just making a wish that whatever we need to come to a reality. Same thing, ask Bhagavan that enlightenment, Paramashiva space to become your eternal reality. And staying in that oneness space is the ultimate that you can experience, and all your sufferings and delusion is gone, and you can be as power manifesting your life however and whatever you want as reality. That beautiful science can be experienced by all of us, each one of us. So please thank Bhagavan and ask in deep gratitude to manifest Paramashiva as your reality. Now let's surrender all this powerful cognition and power manifestation to Bhagavan's lotus feet and thank Bhagavan from your deepest space, and thank each one of you to be here to manifest these powers of Paramashiva today. As Bhagavan said, power manifestation is the ultimate way to experience the oneness and manifest your superconscious space. So let's thank Bhagavan and end this session with a Purna mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudashyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat Sarvam Bhagavate Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam Padukarpanamastu. Om Nithyanandam. Thank you so much. See you again after the next satsang and do the Kailash Kotiyar manifesting power session. Thank you, Nithyanandam.